I want to talk a little bit on Chelsea, but I want to start by talking about Cole Palmer. Because this week, I think this young man has triggered everyone. People are so annoyed that he's being called one of the best players in the league, so annoyed that he's being called one of the best players in the world. I want to ask you a lot of questions. Tell me a team that right now Cole Palmer doesn't walk into in Europe and doesn't start for right now.
Real Madrid.
Of course he starts for Real Madrid, bro. What are we doing?
Over Bellingham, I don't think so.
When you play for Real Madrid, it's a different level of pressure. There is an expectation.
Level, he's beat everyone to the GA, bro.
No 100%. But look at Madrid fans, right? Ancelotti's lost his first game in 258 days, and they want him sacked.
Palmer doesn't miss.
The fan base for Madrid, it's not like there is no. You have to succeed or you're out. And if when you look at,
so you're telling me Palmer wouldn't succeed?
No, he would succeed, but there's. You look at the player they've got right now. Jude Bellingham's walked in his first year. He's won the Champions League. He won La Liga Player of the Year. He won the league title. This season, okay, they've had a bit of a wobble. But if you're a Madrid fan right now, do you take Cole Palmer, who hasn't won anything at Chelsea, or Bellingham, who's just won you a Champions League? The Madrid fans are taking
If you're doing the player ability thing, then it's different. But if we're doing who's in form right now and popping, as soon as Palmer touches the Santiago Bernabeu and bags on his debut as he would, it's curtains. He's playing camo. He's playing right wing. Let's be honest, bro. His numbers are insane. Real Madrid.
I also think Real Madrid. I think Real Madrid could do with his balance. Everybody wants to be on that left-hand side for them right now. Cole Palmer would instantly, at this particular juncture, would give that Real Madrid. Everybody, but if you watch the way they play, everybody kind of drifts towards that left hand. They're so imbalanced, right? So Bellingham goes out there, Vinicius, Mbappe, they all go out to that left-hand side. They need someone like Cole Palmer would bring them balance. And look, I love Jude Bellingham. I think he's an excellent football player. I'm going to say it. Cole Palmer's better than him. Cole Palmer has better technical ability.
Based on
he
what,
scores more. What do you mean based on what?
But in the biggest moments of their career, Jude Bellingham has delivered and stepped up. He assisted the Champions League winning goal.
So listen, that is a tick box which Bellingham has over Cole Palmer. There's no doubt about it. But I've also seen Cole Palmer come into a dysfunctional England team and score in a final of a major international competition, and he should have had far more game time. I've also seen Palmer deliver in what I think to be the most difficult league in Europe, whilst playing for a bang average Chelsea team last year, and he absolutely stood up to a level that most people didn't expect. Jude right now has had a better career because he's been a first-team player and won more. There's no doubt about it. But I think on ability and I think on output and on those areas right now, we're talking in this right moment. I think he walks into that Real Madrid team. I actually think he walks into every single team in Europe right now because he just does.
Nice.
I mean,
does he start over Odegaard?
He doesn't. Hang on. So, but he doesn't start on the right. He plays 10. He starts over Soboslai every day of the fucking week. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he does. To be fair,
I mean, I'd rather have McAllister at 10, but
you would have rather have McAllister than Cole Palmer.
I'm not stopping Macca. I'm not stopping Macca for any.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry. Yeah, okay. You can say he's your guy. Unpack that for us. Why are you picking McAllister over Cole Palmer?
Because I think the technical ability thing you could say. I think there's not much to separate them because McAllister's a very technical player himself. The durability wise, I think they're very much similar. I think both of them can get around the pitch. But McAllister's done it at a higher level. He's done it for Liverpool when they were challenging for a league title. He was arguably our best player when we were going into the title race. I haven't seen Cole Palmer do that.
If Palmer was in that Liverpool side, would he not deliver? Just answer that question. Would he not deliver in those hard games, those bigger games?
I'm not sure. Probably would, because probably would. But again, we're talking about McAllister and Palmer. Again, two different players. I'd rather have both of them in my team.
Bro, the bias is mad, bro. The bias is mad. Right now,
I would. If you're telling me that we take out McAllister and Palmer comes in, I wouldn't do it. I'd rather have both than.
I think part of the way you play, I think Palmer would be a better option. The only three teams, I think Palmer this season, at the moment, is arguably the best player in the world. But would Bayern swap Musiala for him? I don't know. Would Real swap Bellingham for him? I don't know. And would Arsenal swap Odegaard? Of how important he is in leading that press? I don't know.
I don't think Leverkusen swaps him for Wirtz.
No, I think he started Leverkusen.
Do you know what I want to throw out as well? Like Musiala's amazing. I want to make sure I preface this by saying they are all brilliant football players. I'm not saying any of them are crap. We're not doing that basic bitch stuff here. But Musiala's excellent. But Cole Palmer's delivery in terms of scoring and assisting is so much higher. That counts. Yeah, I would agree that sort of touch and turn, that sort of turn, receiving the ball on a half turn, and those initial skills to like beat a man, that element of Musiala is amazing. And at the Euros, by the way, Musiala had really good output for Germany. But Cole Palmer, if you're looking at the two of them, and you look at the percentage of games that one scores and assists in versus the other, and by the way, it is harder to do it in the Premier League, in my opinion. I think it is a tougher league. And that doesn't come from me saying it or pundits or journalists. That's from players that have played in these leagues. And they typically tell you La Liga, Premier League, the hardest two leagues to do it in. I think Cole Palmer does play for Bayern Munich. I think he does. I think he walks into the Liverpool team. I think he plays for Bayern Munich. Right now, there's no question with KDB out injured, he starts for Manchester City. Foden isn't even getting onto the pitch. Definitely plays for Man United. And Odegaard's brilliant. Odegaard is absolutely brilliant for Arsenal. But what would you do, Trimless? Both fit and available and in your squad, one position left in the sort of attacking midfield 10 role, who would you go for?
I'm an Arsenal fan, Terry. I'm Odegaard, innit? Don't do that, bro. You can't. These are what we calling me fake. But right now, it would be Palmer. I'll be real. It would be Palmer. Let's be real, man. He's cooking, he's cooking, man, and the food's nice.
Together.
But do you know what don't help his case? It's the fact that because Chelsea have been underperforming for the last couple of seasons, and we're talking about Bellingham, who did it for Real Madrid, scoring last-minute winners every week of last season to help them win a La Liga title. Musiala, who scored a last-minute winner to help them win the Bundesliga title when they were absolutely dog crap. And we're talking about Wirtz, who helped Bayer Leverkusen win their first ever league title in their history. I think that's the level that we're talking about. And it's not a stack against Palmer. It's just a situation that he's been in. Hopefully this season we get a lot more answers because Chelsea are playing a lot better. I have to hold some corn for that. I don't rate them, but I don't like them, but it is what it is. But this is the season where we get a lot of answers.
Yeah. So I want to ask you, do you think Palmer's being overhyped or do you believe he's the real deal?
I think it's somewhere in between. I think Cole Palmer, because he hasn't done it consistently at the Champions League or a major tournament, it's a risk saying, oh, can he do it? Can he not do it? We just haven't seen it yet. I mean, you guys talked about Bellingham, Musiala. We've seen these players in the Champions League and, as you've mentioned, in the Euros performing and getting GA and so on. So I think if you want to put Palmer in a comparison with them, he has to do at least something similar to them at a major competition or something. But ability-wise, I think Cole Palmer is performing at a really high level. And form-wise, I mean, yeah, he can start for everyone. But if we're doing this form thing, then everyone can start for any other team every week here and there. So
yeah, but the form has been 18 months, bro.
When how long do you have a long time?
Yeah. How long do you have to do it? He's passed the eye test. When Saka came to the Champions League, everyone questioned, is Saka going to turn up? He did it. He did it straight away. And then people are saying Palmer's better than Saka, but now people are saying, no, but he hasn't proved it in the highest. It don't make sense, bro. We clearly can see Palmer will cook any pitch he steps on.
Can I say something with the Palmer?
He's got more GA than Haaland. And
with the Palmer thing though, with the Palmer thing, how much Chelsea do you actually watch when you say this? Because when he performs and when they have a good game, he performs, and I mean he performs 4 goals in a half. You can't doubt that he done that. But 8 of his GA this season come in 2 games. So when he performs. But does he go missing in a lot of games? And does he sort of, and because he does so good in them other games, does Chelsea fans sort of turn a blind eye to a lot of games where he doesn't? I don't think it is that he goes missing. I think it's that he doesn't get GA in every game, but no player does. But I think the reason why that maybe protrudes and stands out is because Chelsea are not as good as Arsenal. They're not as good as City. They're not as good as Real Madrid have been. And there's other players look how good Jude Bellingham was last year. He didn't score in every game, but if he weren't scoring goals, Vinicius Jr. was, or Rodrigo was. So if at Chelsea, if Nico Jackson keeps scoring and, I don't know, Sancho starts getting goals and Madueke keeps scoring, but Palmer maintains these levels, the games where Cole Palmer doesn't deliver the GA are probably not going to matter as much. In the last year, when he hasn't delivered, it's normally cost Chelsea because nobody else has stepped up. And I don't think that should be
on that individual. England did that to Wayne Rooney for 10 years. It was almost, if Rooney didn't deliver, he was criticised. And I used to sit there as a United fan, maybe I'm biased, and go, what about the other fucking 10 mugs? It was only Rooney that ever got in trouble for England not delivering. And I used to think to myself, but there's other players out there. I get where you're coming from, but I think with Cole Palmer's form, I get what you're saying, that a lot of it's come in 2 games this year. But I think it's an extension of what he did last year as well. I think if he'd had a bang average, no one is sitting here saying Brennan Johnson is one of the best players in the world right now because he scored 5 games on the bounce.
He's got 5 in 5, hasn't he? So on recent form, you know.
But the reason why no one is doing that, but the reason no one's doing that in all seriousness is because he scored 5 goals in the whole of last season. Palmer delivered last season, and he's continued this season by playing really well and scoring. So I think people are looking at the last 12 to 18 months as an entirety, as opposed to focusing on the last 4 or 5 games.
Terry, you have to understand.
Sorry, Rams. I agree with that. The only thing I'll counter to that is when I'm saying that, I mean, like with Odegaard, right? If he don't get GA in a game, and someone who's watched the game can say, yeah, but the way he held onto the ball, the way he pressed, the way he helped the defense and got back, and these sort of things. He didn't get the GA, but he still was pivotal in that win. Rather with Palmer, if you don't get the GA, how pivotal is he in the performance? And I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be real. I'm going to start watching a lot more Chelsea and actually keeping an eye on Palmer so I can fully know, because I do believe that when I watch Chelsea and that, it's not the same way as I watch Arsenal. I don't sort of go in depth on how I watch it so much. So I'm not even saying this is true. I'm asking this sort of stuff.
I watch all their games. I watch all of the top 6 games, and I think he is heavily involved. If that makes sense, I think he is. I didn't like that criticism of Saka last year when people say he's got to do more other than getting GA, and I'd be like, well, you're not watching Arsenal games. He does do a lot. It just doesn't always come off. You know, Garnacho was a great example last night. He had 2 or 3 shots that were well saved. He tried and nothing came off. But then one of his shots led to a corner that we scored from. And for me, that's a good performance without getting GA, because you were a constant thorn in the side of your opponents. But again, there is always, I'm not saying you're doing this. You're saying you're not watching, so you're going to watch it. But there's often a bias in that. You always get the eye test merchants do it more than anybody else. They're the first ones to say, well, other than GA, what else does he do? And they try and do it to catch you out, because sometimes on the spot, it's hard to explain unless you've sat there and thought about exactly how to articulate it. But I think Palmer overall looks great.